Hi and welcome back to MeshCommander. In my previous video I demoed a Raspberry Pi 4 with a LED connected to GPIO number 3 with the ability through MeshCommander to be able to switch it on and off. In this tutorial I'll briefly describe how to actually set that up. So it shouldn't take too long to do, but watch my previous videos of basic installation. So what I've done here, I've on my Linux laptop, I've just SSH'd into my Pi, and the default folder you install MeshCommander. I suggest creating a scripts folder. Oops. And with the scripts folder, what you can do is, if you go to my Google Drive, where you'll find MeshCommander, and the one we want for the Raspberry Pi, is this one here, MeshCommander Pi OS version 1.04. So just download that, put it in on your Pi, and like I said, check out the previous installation on my other videos. And once you've done that, then I suggest you go to this folder, MeshCommander Linux scripts. In there's another folder specifically for Raspberry Pi, so Raspberry Pi specific for GPIO. Oops, double click too many times. So the beauty of MeshCommander is the fact you can execute Linux scripts on a Linux box. If you got MeshCommander running on a Windows laptop, for example, on PC, you can program it in PowerShell. But here we're focusing on the Linux side of it. So there's 3 sh or bash files that you can download to manipulate, actually manipulate the GPIO switching, activating one of the LEDs in this example, and switching it off, so activate and deactivate. There's also another script which I provided as well, which will give you the status of the GPIO pin, or if you don't specify, it'll provide back the list of all GPIO status. So what you want to do is download these 3 files and get them across to the script folder. Okay. And once doing that, you will need to update. You have to go into the config folder, and in here you'll need to update the custom commands.txt file. So I'll just open that up now. So you can see here there's 3 entries, and what they'll do with the very first line here, and I said in previous videos, you can change this to anything you want. So whatever's broadcasted here on long fast or directly to the node, it'll just respond to this here, and it'll execute the actual script. So just going to make sure you got the right paths set up. But if you follow this example and you just put into the scripts folder, then that should be fine. And if you're using the standard Raspberry Pi user or not, you may have to update this if you're using a different user. Okay. So if you add these entries, like I said, if you need to modify them to suit your configuration, go ahead, and you may want to change these as well, and that's up to you. And just make that modification, just save it. And what I'll do, I'll go through each script briefly. So if we go back to the scripts folder, and let's expand this a little bit. So let's go to activate. There's a description in the top, so, and it does tell you about adding the entries into the customs command.txt file. So I won't explain absolutely everything about this script, but what it does is it filters the node name, and this is a section really when I concentrate on here. The way I've set this up is that it will only respond back when you send that request, that command out. So hash get underscore GPIO or whatever, whatever you specify it as. You can just make sure it only responds to a specific node. So not all nodes will broadcast that hash GPIO underscore on space 3, for example. If it's not from the node you specify, so you'll have to find out through Meshtastic. You can find out the node ID and you can add it in here. So this really does lock it down. But what you can do, if you, for testing purposes, or you don't care what node pushes that a request out, you can just rem or remove these lines here. Okay. Once that's complete, especially in the activate one, once it does all its processing, it'll execute these Raspberry Pi commands for the GPIO, and with a specified GPIO, and then it'll configure, and in this case it'll set it for output, and then it'll set the bit to high. I think it's that way, yeah, to switch it on. And once it's complete, then it will send out that information. Sorry, when I mean it'll say once it's complete, it'll just say the GPIO is, and a number is activated, and I'll go back to the requesting node. So that's kind of it. And the other scripts are very similar here. What I have done with this section here, you can actually specify a wait time. So if you want to turn on, say, an example in the previous video I've done, switch on the LED, you can put seconds after it. So if you had 60 at the end, it'll wait 60 seconds before it actually switches on the LED, but it will give you a notification. This line, this echo command here, will just give you the notification that it's waiting with the number the number of seconds that you specified, and that's it. So I'll quit out of this, and with the other scripts, they're very much similar, and just go ahead and tinker with it, play around with it. There's so much you can do with MeshCommander. The sky's the limit. What's quite interesting, if you've got projects that requires like long distance, turning or activating things on or off, these devices, these Meshtastic LoRa devices, are absolutely ideal. They're low cost, and you can have a bit of fun. People can get hundreds of miles out of these things, depending. But look into that yourself. But it is fantastic. It'd be interesting to see if someone puts something like this on a weather balloon. that would be quite interesting. But there's so many things you can actually do. Also, if you go to my download link, Google Drive, look at the README file. There's the README file actually does say how to automate it starting up by editing the rc.local file, so it'll run MeshCommander on startup. So yeah, check that out, and please support this project, and please donate, and thank you very much, and enjoy. Ta-da.